You earn that trust with sophisticated clients by having sophisticated conversations about how they make wealth.
Welcome to the Measure Success podcast, where we talk with top leaders about effective strategies that inspire success. I'm very excited to have with us today my friend and expert, Mike Garrison. He's the author of Can I Borrow Your Car? If you have not read this book, especially if you are in the services businesses, you need to get this now. So immediately go into Amazon, go order Can I Borrow Your Car from Mike Garrison. He's a nationally recognized expert in the referral-based business, growth, and trusted advisor leaders who want to build authentic, relationship-driven sales systems. He has over 20 years of experience. The dude knows what he is doing. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. I'm excited. It's weird to be on the other side of the microphone after listening to so many of your podcasts. So it's exciting.
Yeah, and thank you. When we last met together in Charleston, I was flattered because you're just like, boom. You're like, Carl, I want to talk to you about, and I love, you kept on saying over and over to people, you need to listen to the Measure Success podcast. And what was the about? The about was just frankly of how your faith is changing and is moving you, and it's having drastic, and it was so crazy because I was having the same thing at the same time. This is like
neither one of us knew in advance.
No, it was a complete shock. Like, once again, we should not be surprised knowing what we know. And this is today the first day in my life.
Oh, dude, strong.
I'm wearing a cross, folks. So I've never actually done that. I've never been a jewelry type person. The irony is I have an Aura practice ring in my hand too. So I am going all in with, I'm going to be like Liberace by the end of the year.
That's right.
So, but we won't be doing that. Mike, there's this really big problem. Once again, if you are in the consulting based business, if you are, the reality behind it is relationships is what drives what you do, but you don't know how to do it well. And you are sick of wasting your money on, you name it, Google ads, a marketing expert, a salesperson from let's say Costa Rica, to help get you sales leads. A lot of these things aren't working, folks. And even just because you send 1 billion emails doesn't mean you're going to get one sale. Just noted, right? You can send 1 billion phone calls. Doesn't mean you're going to get a sale, right? So especially once again, when it comes to trust-based services where there's high ticket items.
Yes.
Right. These are important things here. This is what you have to listen to. You have to listen to this presentation. So Mike, let's just get into it. And by the way, if you haven't listened to Mike speak, he is one of the most in your face.
East Coast, baby. East Coast.
Yeah. But you're different than just East Coast. You get this you got that Virginia, tough, a little bit of, Commonwealth thing going in for you. But you also have this, you've had some hard stuff going on in your life too. And so you cut to the chase because there's not time to waste, I think is the right thing to say, because you've lived the life and you recognize life's short and it's like no excuses, I think is really your mentality. It's like, stop it, stop wasting time when time is money. And more importantly, you have value to provide to your clients, right? If you don't really truly believe in it, stop thinking you're 1 million fish in the sea. You got to think of you are the brightest fish in the sea, right? The most important fish in the sea, and why you got to get your services to the people you're with. So Mike, when you are talking with in a crowd, I love this. You're just talking about, just do your little example when you were speaking just the other day that you share with me pre-call. So go through that for a moment.
So I like to host symposiums because I'm old. And so when I went through school, we did symposium style Socratic method. And so on my own dime, they had to pay their own way and stay, but I hosted conference room, food, hosted a full day symposium for consultants in the growth drive exit planning space. We had everything from a top 100 Fortune 100 sales training expert to a consultant who used to be at Booz Allen Hamilton trying to recast her life after multiple successful exits. And I'm like, well, you don't have to do anything. You're loaded, but she wants meaning. So anyways, I said to them, and it was a friend of ours named Tim. the last name will be anonymous, but a mutual friend of ours named Tim. I said, Tim, you want to play? He goes, sure. I said, how much does what you sell cost? And he talked about a monthly retainer. And I said, wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And that's why your deal flow sucks. And it sucks because, and after I said this is like awareness is everything. Awareness and context is everything in strategy and being able to execute on strategy. People do strategy and it's not strategy because if you don't execute, it wasn't strategy. It was a dream or a fantasy or something. That's why I freaking love your stuff. Anyways, I said, at $10,000 a month as a retainer, I'm a business owner. I immediately look at a 3-year engagement because I know all consultants like that. And now I am the number in my brain that will be shining and blinking like a Las Vegas skyline. Anytime you speak is $360K and I'm doing an equation. Everything you're saying, $360,000. Like we talk about the gaps, wealth gap, value gap. We talk about these things in exit planning. We talk about ROI and all of these concepts in commercial-based sales, which I've been doing since I got out of college, right? But the reality is business owners will meet with you and they will listen politely and maybe even engage about conceptual growth, but they will not accelerate the buying process at all for something that isn't urgent and immediately relevant. And so I always flip it. And so when I work with clients, and you have to understand, I am like Carl's kind of an expert about a much wider swath of businesses than I am, to be completely honest and transparent. I work primarily with owners of successful professional services firms because I like them. And they also sell advice, which means they can't object that I sell advice. So I always say to them, starting off, and usually it's as quickly as possible now, with a modicum of politeness. And you and I went through it, and I just say, hey, like, would you mind? I do the reverse Columbo, where instead of waiting till you're leaving, oh, by the way, at the beginning, I say, by the way, what's the average value of an ideal client for you? And that almost always is like scratching a record, right? And because I don't say the average, I used to say the average value of a client, and it was powerful, but it didn't. I'm only interested in what accelerates because I can't guarantee I'll be here tomorrow. Like I'm not in charge of that. Like I know I've got an expiration date. I'm just not sure what time do I get put in the day old meat, right? And or maybe older meat, but. And so when I started saying ideal client, and the first time I tested it out, it was on a very successful owner of a valued at about 30 million financial services firm, right? Fully independent. And I said, hey, Jay, what's the average value of an ideal client for you? And this is someone who's been following my podcast and stuff. And he goes, damn. He goes, crap, no one's ever asked me that. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yes. I like conversations that force the person to become present fully. And he went, Mike, it could be as much as $1 million. I said, number one, I know you because I do good discovery. I know that's right. And number two, that's what I sell. I said, would you like to talk about how that works? And he's like, yes. The number that he's thinking for the rest of our conversation, and he's an awesome client. Oh my, I love him so much because he's demanding that he and I participate effectively to land $1 million lifetime value clients. He's engaged and he's challenging, which is my love language. He's challenging and demanding, but it's fabulous because he stopped thinking about how much it cost. His comptroller's like, bro, like, because he added it to the budget. He goes, you just added a 6-figure like thing to our budget. And he's like, don't worry about it. Because does that make sense what I'm saying?
No.
That's the secret.
Yeah, you nailed it. So this is, and I loved it how you brought in the controller because, being a CPA by trade, right? That's how CPAs think. That's how
recovering
accountants think.
CPA.
Recovering. Thank you. But, we most people, you think of two ways, right? There are three ways actually you can think about it. You can think about it in terms of revenue. How much sales is this going to bring me? That's one. Two, you can think about it. How much it's cost me? The real thing to think about is what's your return on investment over a
Yes.
period of time, over the lifetime, once again, lifetime value. That's when all of a sudden you're in, quote unquote, it becomes a cost into an investment, is what we do, right? It's actually, we are wildly cheap, right? We are way cheaper than a salesperson that they could buy.
I'm a
We're way
minimum
cheaper.
10x.
Yeah,
I'm a minimum.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, for me, it's a bad deal if I only give them a 3x return.
Oh,
I'm just saying, like, that's my worst case is 3x. Usually it's 10x. I've been 100x
hmm.
before.
There's one extra point I want to make
Yeah.
is so a lot of what I do is study buyer behavior. So I'm always looking, and the most accurate buyer behavior data that I believe that exists is for commercial business owners, because they are incentivized to to answer surveys because they're trying to minimize the pain of dealing with salespeople, right? And so, like, I'm always looking, like, where's the most accurate data I can get about buyer behavior, because that's all I care about. All I care about is, so I've been, as you know, fully in the deep end, at the bottom, snorkeling on AI, because I know what's happening with these business owners, because I am one, right? And and what I've noticed is there is rightful skepticism of doing a search on ChatGPT when you're going out to the public data, because you have no, like, you still have to vet every bit. And so when I'm doing all my work, it's on my private site that's not shared. I have a ChatGPT account, but none of that's ever shared out. And I'm using my own data from 30 years of work to run all of my stuff. And I'm doing workflows only. Everything's workflows, because I'm trying to influence my client's performance when I'm not present. I believe I have a fiduciary responsibility to no longer be that coach. Hey, let's talk next week. I'm doing workflows, like I did 4 today, literally 4 today for my clients, because I want them continually improving, because I'm going to be more valuable. But here's the beauty of my system of what's the value of an ideal client. Now the entire conversation is about their data that they believe in or don't. And it gets really apparent if they're lying to you. Like, which is not bad. I mean, like, I get it. Like, they know I'm coming for 100K plus. Like, so, like, why should they be like, hey, yeah, just hit me, take all the money? Like, I mean, I'm not bad when I buy, but I'm like, hey, man, like, make this easy for me, meaning data. But by using their data, now we don't have questions about what's Mike talking about and what testimonials. Like, no. Like, if we can't make it work with your numbers, we can't make it work.
For sure. Yeah. That's such an important point, Mike, that you're bringing up, which is truth. Once again, we have our accounting firm. All right, folks, I'm just going to be kind and nice and gentle, but at the same time, not. Most people are not making as much as you think they are. And I know this because I see the numbers. Most people are given as much as you think they are. I know it because I see the numbers. I'm not. And then there's people that you think aren't making anything that have more bags of money than you could even dream of. So don't be fooled by social media, first of all.
Amen.
And by the way, we spend time on that for content producing purposes. We're on this podcast today for content producing purposes, so that we are relevant in the future of AI, right?
Well, I believe that what I'm offering is not only good but necessary, and I will fight for the attention. I will fight in the marketplace for it.
But then once again, that's the why. We have it. We both. This is the talents issue.
Yes.
Right. It's our duty to help small business help them become more valuable, and more importantly, survive through this tsunami.
Oh, I've taken your tsunami, and it's
How are you
now
saying it now? How are you saying it now? I'm kind of curious.
the apocalypse.
Okay, you've gone right
So
there.
I had a very successful multi millionaire in the financial services industry talk to me this week, and I asked him just enough questions, like, "This is a client." He went, "I just got to stop you." He goes, "Is my industry going to be around in
Mm.
18 months?" He goes, and he was dead serious. He's like, "Mike, should I sell my financial services firm right now while everybody is stupid enough to think that AOM is a good business model?" And I went, "Whoa." I said, "Okay." So like we're not dating. Like we are producing children now. Like we are like okay. I said, "Good," but like that was when you as a coach or a consultant or a professional, when you earn that moment of vulnerability, you I believe you're obligated. So I said, "All right, I'll just tell you." I said, "I think AI is going to eviscerate the financial services industry, and it should have happened 20 years ago.
Mm.
80% of financial advisors are not worth what they're charging, and AI is going to show it." I just saw something that came across. FINRA was surveying clients. FINRA was surveying clients, and they found that most clients weren't aware they were being charged fees. FINRA, FINRA is surveying clients of financial advisors, and they have discovered that clients aren't aware they're being charged fees. FINRA, for people that don't know, is one of the big regulators, usually broker dealers, but then you got your SEC stuff. It's starting people. The fee compression is not the problem. Fee transparency,
Hmm.
like, I mean, I hate to say it, but most financial services business models depend upon client ignorance.
Oh yeah. It's sort of like the gym, and you hope that somebody signs up for a prescription, they don't show up anymore. Right? Honestly, right?
Well,
You know,
Planet Fitness would go out of business if everybody showed up.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, whoa, how do I get to this bench press? you know, oh, no, take off the 45s, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
So like he
yeah,
was asking me, and I told him, I said, like, "You're going to be fine because you've already seen it enough that you've hired me to help you transform into the next level, where his firm is going to only work with, as far as counting on revenue, clients with complexity." And he is going to be amazing. He has got some of the he has one idea that I've never seen before,
mm,
ever. He told me it, and I was like, "I hate you." Because when a client tells that to me, I can't share it with anyone.
mm.
I said, "But when you fired me," everyone. But like, so anyways, sorry about that rant, but like, you know, AI is going to eliminate knowledge as value. And if you can't tie
That's right.
yourself explicitly to better execution, either in result or time, you're going to have some big challenges.
Yeah, I mean, the data has been out for eons that in the financial industry, that if you just put your money in S&P low indexed fund management rates, you will beat the market the vast majority of the time over a long period of time. Like 90% of money managers you'll beat, definitely in the short run, and in the long run you'll beat them too, which goes back to the original question, why do I have this financial advisor? Now, the value, which I'm sure you're coaching your people on, is it's about emotional making decisions.
Yes, you ready? This is what I always say.
Yeah.
I say your value as a financial advisor is determined by your ability, A, to develop enough trust with your client so that, B, once or twice, you can tell them no and it'll stick.
Mm.
It's not like your real value is when that client is afraid, when that client has a lot to lose, when that client is got tremendous complexity, and you say, "No, we are not going to do that." And that client goes, "I am scared to death, Carl. Okay, I'll wait." You look at the people that have had the most wealth created since Shearson Lehman since COVID. It was those advisors that had the relationship with their clients where the clients were like, okay, I'm scared. I'm scared, but I'm not going to take it. So like that becomes, how do you earn that trust? You don't earn that trust by taking them out to lunch every now and then and playing golf at the country club. You earn that trust with sophisticated clients by having sophisticated conversations about how they make wealth.
And I'll even go a step further, and because there's the fear factor which sells and always will sell.
Always.
But there's this other side which is really fascinating in wealth. And forgive me, I'm not, just clarify, I'm not a financial advisor, but I care about the number because I'm
Yes,
trying to get them the number. That's why we work with financial partners, is because our goal is to get them the number. So then as a financial advisor, you can help manage the number. But this is why I really care about it. When you have somebody who's sitting on more bags of money than they'll ever need in their life, and they're unwilling to take first class to Europe on a trip.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, meaning
100%.
they could do a first, like literally they have so much money that they could do it every single day, do business class to every place, and they won't do it because they're caught in this, I don't have enough.
Yeah, they're afraid.
And this is also just as much as the opportunity. And this isn't about being not frugal. This is about living. It's about living.
Yeah.
And having the freedom to live and be comfortable, right? And making decisions. So sorry to just go on that, but like
I love it.
These things of why it matters is because it's not always what you shouldn't do. Sometimes it's what you should be doing.
Good Lord, Carl. That's so like I'm reasonably prominent in the exit planning world, reasonably prominent. And one of my biggest frustrations by people that, of everyone in there, like I was trying to be nice.
100% of them.
Hear that. But here's the deal, right? I lost everything through one of the D's that we talk about in the Exit Plan Institute, which is disability. But it wasn't me. My first and only child was born at 24 weeks, weighed 1 pound, 7 ounces, and was in the hospital for 4 months, brain surgery, heart surgery. I ended up losing everything. And I mean everything. And the problem was, looking back, like, here's my thing. If you're a wealth advisor or you're a CPA or you're an attorney, you're somebody that at least should care about your client's success and quality of life. One of the greatest weaknesses of an exit plan or a financial plan for a business owner is this fantasy that they're guaranteed to be able to live their dreams out later. Mm-hmm. And so one of my tests when I work with clients, right? So gate 1 is 30 days as a practicing financial advisor, meaning you're the number 1 rep code. 30 days, no phone, no email at all, just complete disconnect, right? So, but that, and you know this because 40 strategy, I bet you're immediately going, okay, he's got to do this. All these things have to happen. We have to decentralize him, right? The next test is you no longer need any earned income.
That's right.
Right. From the business. But back to this is like my guys now are insisting, when that client in the financial planning or personal planning or whatever buzzword it is process with a business owner, that business owner goes, man, like the number one thing I want to do is I want to play golf all around the world, like the top 40 golf courses. And that person's probably late 40s, maybe early 50s. My advisors are now going, hey man, let's start now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Let's start now. And then they have a conversation with the client and say, hey, look, Carl, here's the deal. That goal is so cool, but I'm sorry. There's a reason disability insurance costs 4 times more than life insurance. Yeah. And I care about you and we'll be able to do this because you're successful, but I want you to live now. Let's live now, because maybe you take 2 trips for golf and you're like, I hate this. I don't want to travel like that. Like, what, you're going to work this entire time? Let's battle test your dream while you still have operating cash flow.
Yeah. First of all, that's brilliant. And then the other side behind it is, while you have capacity to do it well, and you still can hit, if you're a good player, you could pop a 250, 300 yard drive still, right? It's, I mean, the the part, but there, it's, yeah, I like your situation and not the same at all. I just want to clarify with your son, like zero, like there's no,
Yeah.
like, but my aha moment was when my father, he, we gave him, I was just talking this in a meeting just beforehand. His second wife passed away, and we brought down from upstate New York to Florida where he lived his 57 Corvette. Okay.
Yes.
And so the goal, he used to work on cars for years, and it was like he was going to remodel, get the car going again. He was in his early 60s ish. His Alzheimer's was starting to happen. A guy came by and noticed no work was happening on it. Gave him peanuts. I come back to visit him next time. Dad, where is your 57 Corvette that you used to drive with? He didn't have the mental capacity to deal with the complexity of fixing a car anymore, which is something which he used to do in his sleep. I mean, he was a officer in the Master Mates and Pilots, right? You know, this is a smart man, and he no longer. This was in his 60s. By 70, we had to put him in a facility. He lived another, 8-9 years, but the reality was, and so that was for me a lesson of don't wait until this perceived belief that you're going to hit your spot. Live now. I'm not saying being foolish.
Well, you are CPA, so you would never say that.
No, yeah. I'm not saying being foolish, but live now. This is why we travel around with our kids and see all their sports. This is why we're traveling now. This is why we're seeing things. This is why we're spending more than average, so to speak. But I still think, Sarah, I'm 50, about to turn 52 here. By the time this podcast goes, I'll be 52. In my head, in my clock, I got 8 years left. Now, if I'm fortunate and it doesn't happen, hallelujah. But who's to say I won't have 1 year left? There's a guy, same area in Florida, waiting his whole life to retire. Every day in the golf on the weekend, I can't wait, counting down the days. He finally retires. He's super excited. He's walking down in Tampa Bay, walking down the street. A van where somebody was taking drugs in the middle of the day crosses the median, kills him. Mm-hmm. Hops onto the sidewalk, kills him. Dead, gone. He was waiting his whole life for something, and it never was there. So going back to the big thing here, right? As financial advisors, as people, we have to help manage them to, I love that, live now, be thoughtful now, right? But also build for the future, right? It's an and, not an or.
I would say this, so as a best-selling author on referrals kind of person, when you understand that if the reason to meet with you is only when the buyer has decided they want to meet with a salesperson, you've already lost. Because right. 80% of the time, the vendor of choice has been identified and has already wiped you out. If you want to be known as worth meeting when the business owner is not actively buying, which, by the way, is the best time to meet them, you've got to be known, because I'm here to tell you, if you're the financial advisor whose clients and friends know that you're insisting that they have a great life now, that you're not just about telling them to save everything, you're going to get introductions to business owners that other financial advisors never will, because you're worth meeting.
Yeah. And okay, we're going to go a step further than this, just because of, once again, perspective and how you need to think. Mm-hmm. Let's just say, for argument's sake, somebody says 5 million is my number. That's my retirement number. I feel that I can live for the rest of my life and live the lifestyle I want. 5 million, just for argument's sake, for folks, just bear with me. Okay, so you go 5 million, and if I sell my business for $5 million, okay, thank you.
like taxes, baby.
Okay, so that's number one. Number one, tax is going to take out half, right? Let's just keep it
diligence.
Maybe it's 40%. But let's just say for even argument, let's be generous. And
So
let's say
just for
you have 3
clarity,
million left.
that's not an offer for 5 million. That's a transaction for 5 million.
Okay, see, you nailed it. Because the next part, what people don't realize when they're selling their business is that they're not going to get it all. This is before tax. They're going to get 30, 40, 50% of the deal. They're going to ask them to roll it, part of it. They're going to ask them to do seller financing. Okay, you might only get half. So half and half, you're getting 1.5 million.
Right.
And in that business, let's just assume they were making $500,000 a year. That's 3 years worth of income. Is it worth selling your business, folks?
No.
So this is the crazy stuff, right? This is the stuff like why you're trying to, once again, add value to help people understand this. The flip side on the business side is like your number is much larger than you think as a business owner. And this is why, once again, we talk about over and over again, we like rather do oil wells, create an oil well where you can create sustainable business where you don't have to be actively involved in the day-to-day of the business.
The most important word you said was oil wells.
Yes. Yeah. More than one
Build
source of
one.
income.
Built like a great example. Then I heard somebody who looked just like you have a conversation about this 2 years ago. But a great example is you own a convenience store, right? Get that thing running to where it's an oil well that you don't have to run it and you're making your profit. Then add gas pumps. Then add a garage to do inspections. Maybe across the street you add a Quick Mart. But build look the richest people where I'm at that nobody knows about, bags of money, but they're still afraid, are the dudes that started a machine shop, got really successful. Somebody retired next to them. They bought that piece of property, and they all of a sudden they've got 3 or 4 vertically integrated small businesses that are oil wells. And ironically, I can sell a couple oil wells a lot easier than I can sell one.
That's right. Yeah. And right.
And you taught me that.
Thank you. It's once again, it's exciting when you have the right paradigm and you understand what you really have to create. And this is once again why I don't have any problem with people selling their business, especially if they truly can't handle it anymore. But when you get rid of the risk in your business and when you learn how to work on the business rather than in the business, and you could create a steady stream of income that you don't have to sweat at, all of a sudden you've got that, as they call it in mailbox money, as they call it in Hollywood, right? You're getting royalties for not doing any work for something you did 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. That's where real wealth is created, but more importantly, where real freedom is created of your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the real opportunity is the ability to not have to make a decision.
Right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, how huge is that? Like, that's true freedom, right? When you have that type of scenario, that part. Okay. People have been hearing a lot of stuff. And let's go back to, once again, let's just say this stupid thing here. Why do I have to have a strong referral sales approach? Why? Why is that so important?
So a couple of reasons. So there's a number of them, and just contact me for a exhaustive vomiting. No, but reason number one is you own the platform. So you're the only person that can cancel yourself when you have a predictable referral system. If you can't predict the referrals that you're going to receive, the numbers and volume and money, it's not marketing. It's something else. Usually unaccountable branding. So best of luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Wow. Yeah. Well done. Well said there. But so I want to stop on that.
Yeah.
Say that again.
So if you can't predict, so I learned how to sell by having to go to the owner of my copier sales company in Manassas, Virginia, outside of DC. And he was really concerned with exactly what activity I was doing when I was below quota. He was never concerned when I was above quota. Mm-hmm. Right? When I was below quota, I had to justify and show him exactly what I was doing to be back above quota, because and I didn't understand this at the time because I was an idiot. I was 20s, right? Former Army guy, but he had to write a multi-million-dollar check for all those copiers a year ahead of time. And so he was thinking, like, look, dummy, like, I'm counting on you to move $1.5 million of inventory, and I need to know it's going to happen. Don't tell me it's good. So back to referrals. Here's the deal. Referrals should be treated as marketing, right? Because when you do, you now own the platform. You can never be canceled, right? And here's the other thing. Two more points. Number one, if you're worth meeting and interesting, like Carl, like I could get you introduced to just about any business owner that you want to meet strictly because of this podcast, right? I could say, look at this podcast, watch a podcast, and then apologize to me for not begging me to introduce you, right? So you're worth meeting. Now, the whole 40 strategy, you and I got to follow up on the accounting thing. It's getting good. I can't wait. I'll stop. But like, there's huge collaborative. But here's the third reason that no other form of marketing can do. When you go all in on referrals as the foundation of your culture of sales, which means the culture of everything you do in your business. Like having salespeople on staff is indicative of institutional cowardice, because you don't understand that everything in business is sales. You're an institutional coward and you don't understand sales. So back to the point. Here's what referrals, when you're all in on it, does. It demands the personal development of every person in your organization. You become a better human being, which increases your capacity, which increases the scale. Like my new thing now is I'm using AI workflows and my knowledge to scale my impact on my clients without raising the price. Mm-hmm. That impact, as it scales, and I believe it'll be another 10x, Carl, that impact then will cause my business to scale. But that's the thing. People don't understand. Like, referrals are hard because if you don't want to be a better human being, and I'm not saying you're required to be, like, but if you don't want to be better at relationships.
That's a really funny statement. If you don't want to be a better human being, and you're good because you've made it.
Yeah. Sorry. Like I always tell people, like, Congress isn't insisting that you do business. Like if you're a nasty, that's what advertising was invented for. Like, you know. Sorry, that's the first time. Unmeasured success.
No. I let, man, this is so okay. So we got a few minutes left here, and
was that bluntness you were talking about?
We got a few minutes left. So Mike, are you going to come to one of our events and speak at it?
All I need to know is the date.
Okay. So folks, if you're listening on this, Mike is truly one of the best at what he does. This is a question for you.
I will figure out what I have to cancel to be there.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. If we were to do one, because generally we're pretty diverse in terms of like the people who attend, but would you rather be at where it's more service consultant providers, where it's more specialized towards that one of our workshops?
So the beauty, like when you look at me, like I am a unbelievably passionate advocate for sales as the only business essential, cleverly disguised as a referral expert.
Right.
And so if the room has business owners that are self-aware enough that sales is the only essential thing, I'll give you an example. You ready? Mm-hmm. What happens if you have great systems and no sales?
It doesn't matter.
You're done, right?
It doesn't matter.
What happens if you don't have great systems, but you have great sales?
It covers a lot of problems.
Like when you really look at it, like, and you can still go bankrupt by selling too much. But fundamentally, when I look at growth, when I look at business resilience, when I look at owner happiness and quality of life, being able to trust your sales pipeline, not your marketing pipeline, but really trust your sales pipeline, means that you've got the resources to be able to figure out how to improve and then leverage
Mm.
cash flow, right? I always say you don't believe in your sales pipeline if you won't hire a new person right now.
Yeah. 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 No,
So
it's,
just remember that,
no, it, and I could say this once again, 7-time entrepreneur, um,
and counting.
and counting. There's nothing, and I'm not a salesperson by trade, right? But there's nothing more gratifying than winning a client.
It's
Honestly, it's the best.
the right client.
Yeah. True that. In our New Orleans twang there, true that. It's yes, it's true. The right client, winning them. But I mean, like this past week, it's been like raining clients. It's been fantastic, and
Me too. I don't know what's going on this week.
it's been an incredible week. But once again, you got it. But it is. That's why these are all important things. And I agree with you, by the way. Couldn't agree. The sales, this is the ones again where it's people, process, and systems,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the people have to manage the referral process and
Yes.
systems. And they have to be bought in and believe, right, that it's the right thing to do to increase their sales, which increases their bottom line, which increases their flexibility, which enables them to grow, which helps them to sleep at night.
Everybody thinks what they do is the most important thing.
Exactly.
I'm just right. But, but I have found that the organizations that are very human, and no organization is perfect. I am far from it. Right. When people look at me and they look at Christianity, they go, "Oh, Jesus came because of Mike, because of people like him." Right. They look at my wife and they're like, "Well, she's why God exists." But with me, it's like, that's the dude that Jesus, like, that's the sinner and the tax collector kind of guy. Like, but when you look at this stuff, I will say this: as a business owner, if you can navigate strategy, and put at the core of your strategic thinking, how does this affect my sales? Beautiful things happen. Beautiful things happen.
Mike, how can people connect, learn more about what you're doing outside of when we're going to be announcing you to be at our next workshop?
I can't. It'll be someplace nice and warm, right?
Of course, yeah.
Because I'm looking out at a lot of snow. So it'd be www.strategicreferralteam.com. That is, I just reorganized because of AI. I reorganized my entire business model, taking into account. And so it's a private coaching community that we are officially launching in January, capped at 50 owners of professional services firms. It's going to be $1,000 a month. And those will be the only people that have direct access to me.
Mike, I love it. Thank you so much for making a difference in the world. And good news, Jesus still loves you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Just like you must do too.
Thank you. I'm going to keep praying for that and keep acting as if I got to be a little bit better. So there we go.
Once again, hey, we have faith that it happened, and then we do because we're told, right?
Exactly.
To do
Thanks,
great
man.
work.
Honor to be here.
Absolutely. And everyone who's listening, why we get Mike and great people like this on a continuum basis, why we've been rated a top 5 strategic planning podcast, is because of you and the listeners, and that you're engaged and you care about this, and so we continue to add great value consistently. As we always like to say, wishing you the very best and measuring your success. Have a great day.